Hey guys, and welcome to another World of Warcraft video. So today we're going to take a look at some of the big features coming up in patch 10.2.5, which is also known as Seeds of Renewal. Now this patch has been on the PTR for quite some time now and is scheduled to release on the 16th of January in the US and for other regions on the 17th of January. Now it is known as a medium patch, but despite all that it actually has quite a lot of features. So let's just go ahead and take a look at what's going to be made available in a couple of weeks. Though this new event has me intrigued and it feels strangely similar to a combination between Time Rifts, the Super Bloom, the execution may be a bit different, but the idea is actually the same. Do various scenarios, do some quests, do some weekly things that'll eventually allow you to gain reputation with the faction, and acquire a new resource, and by doing all that you'll be able to acquire a buttload of new transmogs, some companions, even a mount, which looks quite a bit like Lizzie though, which is a previously introduced mount in Dragonflight. Anyways, the official description is as follows. Discover the history of the Dragon Isles and meet a unique cast of characters. Hear stories of old and witness the iconography of a time before. Participate in solo and group activities within Traitor's Rest with a weekly public event, plenty of opportunity to explore, and earn rewards like battle pets, mounts, and a transmog set. Start your journey as an archivist today by examining their advertisement in the Sapphire Enclave library located in Veldraken. Overall I'd say this is a decent time sink of an activity, but I'm not able to fully judge the entire features. On the PTR it felt a bit unfinished. Some of the NPCs were boxes, some of them looked a bit glitchy. And even though I do think there's, a lot of room to improve, expand, and for those of us who do enjoy lore, I'm one of them, who knows, maybe some new lore is revealed, but for now it just feels like it's sort of a time sink that's similar to Time Rifts or Super Bloom, and, you'll be doing it for a couple of times in order to get something specifically, and then it's done. Now here's Bel'Ameth, which is the beautiful new city, which is to be the new capital for the Night Elves after the destruction of Teldrassil. Now, after waiting in the Emerald Dream for some time, the new World Tree has come into Azeroth, and as of this new patch, the Night Elves have started inhabiting it. As usual, the world designers have not let us down. The zone looks absolutely stunning. Now, it is far from finished though, and this has already been confirmed by Blizzard. But in due time, the city of Bel'Ameth and other smaller areas on Yggdrasil will increase in size. Over the course of this PTR, Yggdrasil and Bel'Ameth have already received quite a few updates. At first, loads of NPCs were simply named unknown. Quite a few of them are now actually unique characters that we've already stumbled across. Think of Brawl Baremantle, Thistly Crow, or Chandris Feathermoon. Now, I actually tried locating Malfurion Stormwatch as well, considering Ysera's back to Ardenweald and all that, but I guess he's still there chilling alongside Ysera or something like that. Now, this new city is the first to receive a portal in the second portion of the portal rooms in Stormwind and Orgrimmar, and from Bel'Ameth you can take a portal back to the faction capital, to Darkshore, to Val'Shara, and to Mount Hyjal. Now, nevertheless, the zone doesn't feel entirely finished just yet. There's a couple of NPCs wandering around, some of the hostile creatures are there, neutral creatures as well, pretty much everything you sort of saw whilst we were in the Emerald Dream, but it just feels unfinished. Every little area that now has some buildings, there's some NPCs walking around, but it feels like empty filler content. I'm sounding negative, but it's looking really good, and Blizzard has already admitted that they will work on Bel'Ameth in the future. So, as it is right now, it's a nice start, and hopefully over the course of the next few patches, or as expansion even, it'll feel like the region is being built up more and more and more. Dynamic flying will become available in the old world. It is slightly less fast than on the Dragon Isles though, as you will ultimately be able to reach 85% of the speed you would be able to achieve while you're in the Dragon Isles. Now, considering that most of the zones are quite a bit smaller, say compare Westfall to Azure Span, this is going to still feel incredibly fast because she'll be zooming through Westfall, well, in no time. Unfortunately, as I've stated before, the PTR is a bit buggy and my character was copied over with a lot missing, including all the dragon glyphs, so just picture exactly what you're seeing here right now, but faster and better. Now, it doesn't really matter whether or not you want to use dynamic flying in Northern, the Broken Shore, Outland, or wherever, it is now all possible. Well, not in the Draenei and Blood of starting zones, but nobody goes there anyways. As you go alongside this, the Draktyr ability Soar has now become pretty much the same as dynamic flying. It can now permanently be used in the same way. Though it may actually be a tad better than normal dragon riding, as you are immediately sent up into the air, and you don't use any vigor for doing that. Now up next we have continuation of dragon riding, which is the Dragon Riding Cup, and this time it is in Outland. 13 new races have been added, and they all have a normal, advanced and reverse mode, some achievements associated with it, a quest line, etc. Some new cosmetic rewards can also be purchased with the newly acquired badges, which is called the Outlandish Drake Racer set. And finally, this will be the first racing event where mount customizations will be visible. If you do not have dragon riding, you'll still have access to the lone mounts though, which will now also include the Flourishing Whimsy Drake and the Grotto Netherwing Drake. Now this next feature may have a very big impact on the future of WoW. And I'm talking about follower dungeons, which is, well, likely based off of previous AI experiences such as island expeditions. Now picture the following situation. You want to do a normal run of whatever dungeon, but you're missing a healer. For some reason, nobody wants to join your group, but with this new feature, that is no longer an issue. You can just add an NPC to help you out during the dungeon. And it works exactly like it sounds, and it does that quite well. I tried this out myself with a character that is heavily overgeared for normal dungeons, and the tank was able to keep threat just fine, the healer managed to keep people alive, and the DPS did pretty good damage. And honestly, I think they could have taken down a couple of bosses without me, which may be a bit of a bad thing, because maybe they're a bit too strong. And also I was able to loot some of the things, despite me not participating in those pools, which feels weird, because then technically someone could acquire loot, even though they're just standing there and watching. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this feature would be expanded upon, depending on how it's received. For example, imagine these types of followers in looking for raid runs. Who knows? Now, on the more technical side, whilst doing a dungeon in this style, you can decide whether or not the follower should follow you, or the other way around. This can be changed through a very simple extra action button that'll appear once you're inside a follower dungeon, and it also doesn't really matter with how many people you queue for this, as long as it's less than 5. And the remaining open slots will be filled with an NPC that fits the needed role. If you're on your own, you'll get 4 followers helping you out. If you need 2 people to fill the group, you got 2 followers to assist. And honestly, overall, this feature could be incredibly good for new players, as they will have the chance to learn how to understand and deal with dungeon mechanics without being judged by other players. The more complicated mechanics of dungeons will have to be done by the player, which is also helpful for the learning process. Now to me, this is one of the things I am most curious about, and I'm not able to say a whole lot about this. And I'm talking about the Reclamation of Gilneas. And why exactly am I not able to say a lot about this? Well, this event wasn't made available for testing on the PTR. And that may have actually been a great decision on Blizzard's end. We aren't sure what will happen here, but based on the name Reclamation of Gilneas, I'm sure that we can think of some things. In essence, the Gilneas will take Gilneas back, and the only thing that has been confirmed is that the enemy they will take it back from is not going to be the Forsaken. Now, the zone itself has already been altered quite a bit. All of the Forsaken forces and the materials have been removed from the zone in its entirety. The Gilnean refugees have been relocated to the city and sort of act like the city is alive again. They're walking around, they're selling things, and well, most of them are still named unknown, so it looks a bit unfinished on the PTR. And some of these unknown NPCs, well, honestly, they're quite obviously NPCs that we may already know. Just take a look at these two, for example. Sure, you can take some guesses. Nevertheless, this is the main selling point of this patch, to me at least. It will be a grand event with a very heavy lore impact. We just need to wait and see how heavy that exactly is. But I'm looking forward to this. Sort of feels like the taking back of Nomorgan back in Cataclysm, or taking the Echo Isles back for the Horde. Now let's take a look at some of the new customization options, as quite a few have been added this patch. For example, the Draenei race, they will have one more skin color to choose from. The color is grey, by the way, it's almost ash-like. And Trolls will have 5 new hair colors, which are all incredibly nice and bright to look at. Now there are also some more demon customization options for Warlocks, with this time the Dark Lair and Demonic Tyrant having been given some new looks. Only some of these color demon combinations will be available at first. They will have to be unlocked through various means, and not all of those means are known at the moment. Could be very difficult, could be very easy. We'll have to wait and see. And to wrap things up, some of the Covenant abilities have been redesigned to fit the current theme a lot more. Most of these will no longer remind you of the Shadowlands. Some of them also have been renamed to more appropriate names. For example, the warrior ability Spear of Bastion, which has been turned into Champion Spear. However, be aware, if you did really enjoy these old appearances, don't worry. Blizzard has already stated that they will provide an option to display the old looks instead. I, for one, am incredibly excited about this new patch. It feels like a small patch, but it actually has a lot to look forward to. And I think that is definitely a sign of improvement in comparison to some of the other smaller patches we had back in the past. Or, well, some of the bigger patches even. I mean, do you all remember 6.2 and what the feature of that was? I think it was the selfie cam and Twitter integration. Well, that was supposed to be a big patch. This is supposed to be a medium patch. I mean, look at the difference. To me, this is a sign that Blizzard is going to do things better, but who knows? Now they have to keep it up. Anyways, please do let me know what you're looking forward to in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you the next time. Bye bye.